Do the Gospels correspond to truth? The question occupying you is understandable if you wish to know the truth. The fact that changes had occurred everywhere cannot be denied, because I do not exert force on a person's free will even if he himself implements changes, partly as a result of wrong translations, but partly also caused by the use of language which differs everywhere and also promotes various interpretations. Even the transcripts of the original text diverge from each other were you to compare them, but they do not distort my teaching, they describe my words as I had spoken them, because these words of mine are and will remain everlasting. But now you desire to know who has been instructed by me to record my divine teaching of love, as well as my way of life, and I can only reply to this that John, my favorite disciple, had the direct order from me and thus also complied with this task. However, my disciple Matthew, having been likewise capable of writing, also left scripts behind in which he mentioned more factual events, hence he was an equally faithful servant, yet minor discrepancies occurred in his transcripts which, however, cannot be explained such that every scribe saw the same events differently. Instead, it concerns multiple events, for I have often done the same. Even so, this gospel is still hidden from you and was replaced by a disciple of the same name who was impelled by the Spirit of God, just like the evangelists Luke and Mark, who only during later years wrote down what they had heard about me and my act of salvation. You can rest assured that they were influenced by my Spirit. Otherwise they would never have attempted to tackle such work. And it will indeed be possible for every spiritually awakened person to recognize these minor discrepancies, which had slipped in later, but he will always be able to keep to my direct words, since I protect my word from being changed. Admittedly, you can also interpret these words of mine wrongly, which indeed you have done, thereby giving the spoken word a different meaning, but a spiritually awakened person will always recognize them as being wrong. So if you know that you are allowed to unhesitatingly accept all Gospels as being conveyed by my Spirit, as long as you merely assign different periods of time to the process of the transfer, then the Gospel of John was the first one given by me, because John more or less witnessed everything and was therefore able to describe it in greatest detail. However, the other Gospels can also be unreservedly believed, for they do not contradict each other, merely in the course of time minor changes have occurred which, however, are insignificant and recognizable. If the translators keep firmly to the original text, if they don't change the words according to their linguistic usage, it can also be assumed that the Gospels will remain pure, but the latter should be avoided because it can completely change the meaning. And even the expositions require an awakened spirit. Worldly studies, even if they are of a spiritual nature, are to no avail, and time and again such expositions arise which deviate from correct thinking, and so many a passage exists which is purely interpreted in a human way, whereas it should only be understood spiritually. And this always ever concerns passages where clarifications were given. On account of people's free will I cannot prevent this, nevertheless, wherever possible I protect the word I have spoken during my lifetime on earth, so that those of you who want to know the truth may find the right explanation. For such questions will only be asked by a seriously minded person who is not satisfied with scriptures of unknown origin and whose questions only prove that he loves the pure truth and therefore also me myself, who is the eternal truth. Amen.